In this little section of the video, we're going to talk about stage C, which is handling bad user input. Stage C is related to stopping the user typing silly input, which terminates the game. Because it would be quite a shame if the user comes across their game halfway through and instead of typing, let's just use this as an example, instead of them typing a capital N, they decide to type north. And the game just finishes as a result. It just says bad input, which is what's going to happen in your previous game from stage B. So if you come over to stage C, look in the bottom left, you'll see you should have an example of your stage B code. Don't worry if it isn't exactly your stage B code, because you can go back and copy and paste and amend as necessary. But last time round, in your stage B code, it currently just says get the choice from the input. If the choice is the capital N, then do location B. If it's the capital E, do this. Otherwise, it's neither of those. Just say you can't go that way. And the game ends, which is a bit of a shame. So this should fix that. So let's take it over to the Word document so we can... I think I need to put my N back in there. I think I probably just deleted that. Anyway, yeah, let's start on the Word document. So over to the Word document. The first thing to find out is what part of this code is inside a while loop, because we're going to continually get input from the user until they type something good. The code is starting to look quite big, but that doesn't matter too much because we can identify the bits that we did before. That's this stuff down here. That's all the stuff we've already done, and some new little bits that we're adding to the game for stage C. First thing we're going to identify is which bit is repeating, and it's this bit. Everything that you see inside this section where it says while good choice is equal to false. You can see it's indented, which is all this little gap. That's this gap. All these gaps here, there's two indents there because it's inside the if. There's a single there and there's a two there. But everything inside that while loop has to be indented. I'll leave that rectangle there because it makes it a lot easier to understand what's going on. So we're going to be using lists for this. We didn't have to, but we decided that it would be a nice, neat way of saying what were the options that were available when you were in the ruined castle. Well, you could go north or you could go east. So we used a list for this. That's options equals n comma e in square brackets. So let's try and understand what's going on. We assign a Boolean value, that's assignment, that's where false gets assigned to good choice. Notice it doesn't have speech marks because it's not a string, it's a Boolean data type. And we're saying it's false. And we're going to say while that variable contains false, while it currently has false in it, well, of course it does because it's false at the moment, get the choice input from the user and assign the input from the user to the variable choice. So that's what's going on there. If the choice is in options, now, if you've done stage 3 on Codio, you'll understand what this little keyword means, in. Well, it kind of reads in English quite well, actually. If the thing the person typed is in that list, it's a very powerful operation, in, and it allows you just simply to do exactly what it sounds like it does. Checks whether what they typed was either N or E. Those were the things that were inside options. If there were more options, if that wasn't there and there was a comma and there was S next, like so, then that would also be allowed. But obviously it's not, so it wouldn't be allowed at the moment. So yeah, if it's in, it sets. You can see there's a tab there again, so that's two tabs there. It sets the variable good choice to the Boolean true. And you've got to remember that it then, next time round this while loop, the next time this while loop repeats and comes back round, well, it's saying while good choice is equal to false, and it won't be false anymore, it will have gone to true. So we still need to finish this while loop because we haven't finished it, and it says else print invalid choice, try again. Well, if the person did type N or E, it would never say that, and good choice would get set to true. If they typed S, for example, well, that's not in, and good choice wouldn't get set to true. So therefore, it would just keep on looping, looping until the person typed one of the valid choices, which is the direction that you want to go, north or east. Of course, we come back out of the while loops, you can see that there is no indentation here on the bit that we already had. This was the bit that was there from previously. And you can see it says, if choice is north, it's the same code that we had previously, except you can't really get to the else clause anymore. You should never be able to get to that line anymore because, well, you've already made sure that you can't because you've looped around this until it contained N or E. So therefore, this little block can never contain that. So you can see that everything in this top block has anything inside this while loop is indented, but anything after it is not indented. And that is really validation sorted. You can then, as a result of that, make sure that the user can no longer actually type any bad input. So it makes it a lot easier if you actually put little blocks around this. So in your notes, it's probably worth annotating those two little blocks, at least to make it easy for you to read. So I would do it in two colors. I would do those two sections. And you've got to remember the indentation on this code, so it makes it a lot easier to understand. And you can do that, a similar thing. Oh, I could even put a colored block around that one. You can do a similar thing to that for all the different zones now. It'd be quite easy to add in for stage C, wouldn't it? So you can do the same for the Great Hall and the same for the Keep.